Hi friends! Today we're going to talk about something super important, what it means to be transgender.
AGP, or autogynephilia, is not well known by the public, even though it's a crucial component to understand why some men want to medically transition. Autogynephilia is defined as a male's propensity to be sexually aroused by the thought of himself as a female. It is the paraphilia that is theorized to underlie transvestitism and some forms of male-to-female medical transition. The Canadian sexologist and psychologist Ray Blanchard first coined this term in 1989 during the research he carried out to better understand the motivations and psychological experiences of male-to-female transgender individuals. Blanchard used interviews and questionnaires to gather data on his patients' sexual histories, fantasies, and motivations for transitioning, and his findings suggested two primary reasons for males to seek medical transition: autogynephilia and homosexual transsexualism. Autogynephiles are typically heterosexual and often not particularly feminine. They are motivated by what's known as a paraphilia. Homosexual transsexuals, or HSTS for short, are gay and typically feminine.
If straight men aren't attracted to trans women, why are you attracted to me?
It is not yet known to what extent other challenges such as autism, ADHD, and/or OCD might impact either autogynephilia or HSTS. Autogynephilia generally leads a person to focus on the body, dress, behavior, and/or physiology. For example, an AGP or autogynephile can experience sexual arousal from imagining or visualizing themselves having female physical characteristics, such as breasts or a vulva.
So since I am a transgender woman who has a custom coochie meow meow, I had gender reassignment surgery. I have to dilate my punani.
Some AGPs may experience sexual arousal from wearing certain clothes, especially clothes that are stereotypically associated with women. Other AGPs may experience sexual arousal from certain behavior that could be stereotypically associated with women, such as putting on makeup, or shopping, or knitting or sewing, or joining female-only activity groups. Professor Michael Bailey brought the concept of AGP to the masses with his book, The Man Who Would Be Queen, published in 2003. Trans activists attacked Bailey for his book, targeted his children, and accused him of pedophilia and of being a Nazi. The self-identified autogynephile trans woman Anne Lawrence authored the book Men Trapped in Men's Bodies in 2013 and offered many accounts of trans women with autogynephilia. AGP is noted in two different places in the DSM-5, or the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Under paraphilias, AGP is named as a potential and common part of transvestic disorder, which is described as a transvestic fetish. Under gender dysphoria, AGP is mentioned as one of several developmental pathways. Paraphilia is a term used in psychology and psychiatry to describe patterns of sexual arousal or behavior that deviate significantly from societal norms. These patterns involve intense and persistent sexual interests in objects, situations, or individuals that are not typically considered sexually arousing. Paraphilias can vary widely in their focus and may involve fantasies, urges, or behaviors. Men are 20 times more likely to have a paraphilia when compared to women. Paraphilias in themselves are not necessarily problematic unless they cause distress, impairment, or involve non-consensual activities. For example, a person with a foot fetish or shoe fetish might incorporate their fantasies into their sex life without causing harm to others, although a fetish may suggest an aversion to intimacy. Most people with paraphilias have more than one paraphilia. The distinction between paraphilias and paraphilic disorders is crucial in clinical settings to ensure appropriate diagnosis and treatment. A paraphilic disorder causes significant harm or distress to oneself or to others. Some examples of paraphilic disorders are voyeuristic disorder, exhibitionistic disorder, frauderistic disorder, which is when a person is sexually aroused from touching or rubbing against a non-consenting person, and necrophilia, which is a sexual attraction to corpses. Some trans-identified males have autogynephilic disorder, and they can cause harm by insisting on being recognized as female and being allowed entry into certain spaces. These AGPs feel the need to be recognized as women, so they maintain the fantasy that they are actually female.
Like this idea that oh, you're not a biological woman. Well, I am a woman, that's a fact. I am female, so all my identity records, my racing license, my medical records all say female, right? And I'm pretty sure I'm made of biological stuff, so I'm a biological female as well.
Some people generalize about AGPs in unhelpful ways, and many autogynephilic men don't actually intrude into women's spaces or behave inappropriately, while others do. For example, some AGPs may seek to breastfeed. Some AGPs pretend that they're having their menstrual period. And some AGPs want to force others to see them as a woman.
Trans women do experience PMS, and we do also sometimes experience cramps because of that.
Paraphilias are commonly associated with other comorbidities, and narcissism and aggression are sometimes associated with AGP.
I feel beautiful a lot. Like, I'm really pretty. And I know it.
Not all AGPs want genital surgery. Some choose to keep their penis and use Viagra to combat the impact of estrogen, so they can maintain their intense sexual arousal. Other AGPs, especially those fixated on physiology, will choose genital surgery. Some AGPs find that their sex drive is significantly reduced by hormone treatment and genital surgery. However, other AGPs retain their paraphilia or paraphilic disorder without these medical treatments, as it's rooted in their mind, not their physiology. Recently, the number of people seeking medical transition has been significantly increased as a consequence of rapid onset gender dysphoria, or ROGD, which is a socially mediated phenomenon that typically arises among young people who spend extended periods of time online. Some ROGD youth are gay, lesbian, or bisexual, but reject their sexuality in favor of a trans identity. Usually these young people are challenged by other conditions, such as autism, ADHD, eating disorders, depression, anxiety, and/or OCD. Some ROGD youth, and we don't know how many, may end up with AGP traits, especially if they're groomed online or impacted by trans porn. As always, with all aspects of trans identity, this is a complex phenomenon that requires a good deal more research and understanding. For more information, visit genspec.org. Thanks for watching.